bin.
Where did you dig up that old fossil?
Going into Toshi Station to pick up some power converters.
That's no move.
We're all fine here now, thank you. How are you?
Welcome to the Star Wars Nerds Podcast. I'm Dan Vanabonker.
And I'm Kenton Larson.
And it's been a kind of a tumultuous week in Star Wars news. We're going to get into a lot of it, Kenton. But what have you been up to other than watching Star Wars, I guess, The Bad Batch, which is the only thing coming out right now? Other than that, what have you been up to, Kenton?
Well, I got two things for you. Patty Jenkins, who is going to be directing Rogue Squadron, directed a fine piece of celluloid called Wonder Woman 1984. And when I say fine, I mean terrible, which I finally saw now that it's free. And what a piece of garbage that is. I don't know. Do we want to spend 2 minutes talking about
Did we
Wonder
talk?
Woman
I feel like we talked
not?
about it in Meteors a little bit when I saw it back around Christmas time. But you're right. It's awful. It's like night and day compared to the first Wonder Woman. Like that, I honestly, and I see it, and it's funny because I see it right now. It's in like stores, like the DVD is on sale, and you see these big retail displays for it, and I'm looking at it going, that looks cool. Like Wonder Woman looks cool in her gold thing that she's wearing with all the wings. What's the purpose of that? We don't really find out. But it's not a good movie. It really isn't.
Well, I was excited that she was going to do Rogue Squadron until I saw Wonder Woman.
I think she'll be fine direction wise. It's fine. It's the script and the story that are the issues. And I don't think she wrote those. But I could be wrong.
Yeah, the script has issues. I mean, even on a basic level, why does it take place in 1984?
No reason.
Know. Why? No reason. Why?
No, there is no reason. So they can have that mall scene
No.
at the beginning, right?
Yes, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Why? How does aging work on that island? You got me.
And how does Kristen Wiig turn into a cat? Is my question. That's the biggest thing. Like, why does that? Is that her wish? Is that the cat? And of course, there has
been a magical wish.
There is the major issue with consent and the fact that they bring back Trevor, which is Chris Pine's character, into the body of some other guy that we never. Oh yeah, we meet him at the end of the movie, but like basically she's been using that body for sex the entire time without him knowing about it. Something like that. It's really bad.
And how did he explain his absence at work? That's what I wanted to know. He was absent from work. He had a note from Wonder Woman. Going, sorry.
I've been off. I've been off saving the world.
I made a magical wish. You're not going to believe this one. I made a magical wish, and the spirit of my dead boyfriend inhibited this guy's body for a period of 2 weeks. Please excuse him from work. And that guy was happy about it. That guy was pretty happy.
Seemed pretty happy. Yeah, I don't know. He didn't seem like he didn't seem like he was missing time or anything, which is weird. And then what else? You said there was a second thing.
Yes, and the second. And we could talk. By the way, I enjoy talking about how much I hate that movie. So thank you for stopping it there because I could go on forever.
Yeah.
The second thing was that as you know, I've been playing the Mad Max video game on Xbox for 3 years, pretty much 3 years off and on. And it was driving me insane. I was at 99% for like a year. And I was like, where is the last percent in this bloody game? And so I've been digging up things and I was like, it's only one. And I've looked up stuff online and nobody knows. There's all kinds of stuff online going, there's a glitch. That's the only explanation. And that's why everybody gets stuck at 99%. So I was like, fine, whatever. So I was like, just about to put the game away when suddenly something started firing at me. And I was like, what? This hasn't happened in a lot. I thought I was almost done the game. And so I find this little tiny thing and there's a dude in there and I shoot him. And then it goes, congratulations, you reached 100%. And I was like, oh my God,
that was it.
I found it. So it's like 100%. So I did what I needed to do. That was it. And that was it. And then I broke something, and then that was the end of the game. And I was like 100%. And I was like, this is great. Now I'm gonna a wealth of riches are open to me. And the big punchline is nothing happens at 100%. You don't get anything.
Yeah, and of course, now you're talking about these are like it's a game like, and I've actually played this. I bought it on your recommendation, and I quite enjoyed it. I'm not nearly as far into it as you are, or you've obviously completed it.
Takes
But
forever.
yeah, and that's because it's a big open world game, just like Grand Theft Auto, where there's lots of little side quests and things to get done. And those, I mean, obviously you'd finished the main story of the game a long time ago, but it's just a matter of going out and finding those extra little, just like you do in Grand Theft Auto, right? So there's that as well. So well, good for you. Congratulations on 100%ing that game. And I watched Fury Road not too long ago. It's a great movie. Love it. And it's a great, and honestly, that game brings you right into it, into that world, and it's a lot of fun.
I love Fury Road, and that's why I bought the game. And I will say the game, but the biggest compliment that I have for the game is that the sky, the sun, and the clouds are impeccable. The way they're handled in that game, they look absolutely fantastic. But remember when I vowed to never play Grand Theft Auto, I would never shoot the pigeons ever again. I would never have to shoot 10,000 pigeons or whatever it was that were hidden in special locations. I was like, no, I'm never doing that again. Well, I did the equivalent of that, which is digging up the shit in the sand. Like I was like, okay, it must be that. So I'm driving around looking for stuff buried in the sand. And that was a year. That took a year, probably. It was worse than the pigeons. And there's no maps online to do it.
Oh, really?
So anyway, I finished.
Okay, cool. Well, hey, there you go. Now what?
And
now what are you going to go? Now you need another Star Wars game.
What am I going to play?
Did you know that Ubisoft is working on a Star Wars game?
Yeah, I think I heard that.
We have a former student who works at Ubisoft here in Winnipeg, and I had him in to talk to our students this year, and because I got lots of requests from students. We know there's an Ubisoft office in Winnipeg. We know the Crecom grads work there. We want to hear from one. So I got Jackson to talk to them, and he's a great guy, and he's a great student. And honestly, I didn't know about it. I didn't know about the Star Wars thing. And then afterwards, he messaged me. He's like, "I'm surprised you didn't ask me about the Star Wars game." I'm like, "What Star Wars game?" And of course, he can't talk about it, but they are working on the Star Wars game, which is very exciting. So we'll have to have him on.
Ask me about the thing I can't talk about.
Well, I guess because it was recently in the news and I'd missed it. So that's why he thought I would ask him about it. Just like you asking Pablo about different Star Wars questions. Ask him about the thing you can't talk about.
At last we will reveal ourselves to the Jedi. At last we will have revenge.
All right, let's talk about Star Wars. We had an interesting week, as I said. I guess the big story this week is kind of this interview with JJ that came out, in which he was asked about the whole process of making the Star Wars films, making the sequel films, the two that he made. And what first of all, what is the context of this? Is this was this an interview for something else? Is he promoting some other movie, or why is JJ in the spotlight right now?
I've got an article up here from Entertainment Tonight Canada, and it cites no sources. It says J.J. Abrams admits the latest Star Wars trilogy could have benefited from more thoughtful planning. And then it just says like, oh, he did too. And they were sandwiched. They sandwiched Rian Johnson's one in the middle. He explains the abrupt changes are the norm in television, et cetera, et cetera. But nowhere does it say where this interview took place.
Yeah. And I've got a piece here on Collider. And it's very similar. It's like, doesn't say where he was talking to people. So weird.
I know, it's a weird way to write an article.
Everybody seems to have it.
Back?
So basically, yeah. and it's a very like reasonable explanation of what happened. It still makes it still shows us that they really did not have a plan. Like basically, they brought JJ in. He was originally supposed to direct The Force Awakens, and that was it. And then he was going to pass it on to Rian Johnson, who was going to make his movie, and then pass it on to Colin Trevorrow, which never happened, obviously, because he was fired. And this article doesn't say that. It was said he left the picture, but he was fired, right?
I think fired. So.
Yeah, and then the link that they provided. Here's why Colin Trevorrow was fired from Star Wars. So there you go. So there is that. So now what JJ is saying in this interview, wherever this interview was conducted, is that he does like to have a plan. He feels like you should have an overall plan. They did not have one. He came into, I guess he didn't know that Rian Johnson was going to kill Snoke. I guess the real question is, why did Rian Johnson kill Snoke, right? I think I want another interview with Rian Johnson to find out why he decided to do that. And why somebody at Lucasfilm didn't say, don't do that, please. He's our main villain. Please, we want him for another movie. Don't kill him off yet. Like, I can't believe nobody said that to him.
I do think there is, and more now than ever, when I look at those three films, I do think there's an argument to be made that Rian Johnson and JJ's visions did not align, and they actively did things to sabotage each other.
Well, I don't necessarily know if that's the case, because as far as Rian Johnson was concerned, Colin Trevorrow was going to be directing the third movie, right? When he started the process, so he's picking up what JJ laid down, and then Colin Trevorrow was supposed to pick up what Ryan laid down, and I think that obviously would have resulted in a better third movie. And I think this reaction they had to like the hatred of the Last Jedi was a mistake. They should have stuck to what they were doing. They should have, I mean, obviously the Trevorrow thing, I think maybe had to do more with his other movie. What was that one, that Book of Henry, that didn't do very well and it wasn't very good. But still, he had still done the Jurassic World movies, and those are, box office gold. So why wouldn't you keep him going? I don't understand that.
Yeah. I also think JJ couldn't resist coming back to bring back the vision he had and try to fix the stuff that he perceived as not working in Johnson's movie. But it just doesn't hold together as a cohesive trilogy.
No.
There's no doubt about it.
It feels like it feels like Rian Johnson and JJ were never in a room together ever to talk about it, right? Like, it just feels like they were just completely different silos, and that shouldn't be how it should not have happened that way. It really shouldn't have, right? Even when you look at things like the Harry Potter movies and all the other franchises, even all the Marvel movies that they make, Kevin Feige's there to make sure they all have a similar look and feel, and they all tie together, and that's his job. And they didn't have that. I Matthew Kennedy's job.
Well, I think the idea was we're going to have a lively and vibrant three movies if we don't over plan. Like, it's sort of like a comedian learning the material and then delivering it like it's spontaneous.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what they were trying to do. That can work, but I think they left too much. Like, they left it too much to we'll figure it out. Mm-hmm. And if we introduce 100 characters, then we have the ability to change things, and it was just too many.
But here's the problem: because the way they kept, when each director wants to make his own mark on the franchise, right? So, and I think that JJ, obviously JJ was able to do that with The Force Awakens. Rian Johnson wanted to do that with the next one. So when JJ came back, he'd already left his mark. You're right. I think you're right. He didn't like what Rian Johnson had done, and probably was pissed about Snoke dying. I think that was the biggest. And maybe the Luke having the attitude and throwing the lightsaber, right? I don't think that's how JJ pictured that scene ending, but that's why I like it. That's why it's good. It's because it's different and it's not something we were expecting. But yeah, it's just tough. It's a tough situation. I just can't believe they didn't have a bigger plan. It seems like a no-brainer.
Even if you and I were making the third film, we could have come up with a better ending to the stuff that had been set up before.
In the third part of the movie, you don't want to be adding more stuff, and he added way too much new stuff in that, right? That was the main problem. Is that you work with what you have, work with the characters you have, and all the things that have been introduced in the last two movies. Don't give us a bunch of new planets and a bunch of new characters and a bunch of new droids and stuff to, you know what I mean? Like that's the main problem, I think. Now, keep in mind, I have not seen this movie since the second time I saw it in the theater. I still have not watched the Rise of Skywalker at home. So maybe I think, and now we need to still watch it. We'll have to figure that out this summer, I think, is to find some time and to watch The Rise of Skywalker and really dig into it, because it's been too long. And we got to take the good Star Wars with the bad Star Wars, right? We have to. For Star Wars fans, we have to accept both. And watch both.
I watched it once at home. And the good news is I thought the beginning went by much quicker than the first time I saw it. The first time I thought it was a little draggy, but second time I thought it moved a little breezier. But the story thread holds up less well than I thought. So something was a little better, something was a little worse. And by God, if you're going to call it Rise of Skywalker, you bring back Luke. Luke Skywalker rises from the goddamn dead. I'm sorry. Rise of Skywalker.
There's only one case.
Her goddamn name.
Right, she's not even related to him. Like that title, that's what I'm talking about. That's and then JJ's famous for talking about the mystery box and all this, like the unknown and the mystery. But that's misleading. That title's flat out misleading, and it's like it's not. There's only 2 Skywalkers in Star Wars, and that's Luke and Anakin, and that's it. And so when you say Rise of Skywalker, that's what I think they mean. And I also thought that we might see, and that could be a possibility, right? But yeah, I'm sure a lot of people were speculating on that, but that's not what happened. So
imagine Star Trek search for Spock. We didn't find him.
Still not the best.
That's
of those
Rise
movies.
of Skywalker.
And there's another example of a way to put together like going back to like the 80s when they were doing the Star Trek movies, right? Like it was completely different director, completely different story. I mean, you have a bit of a trilogy there with those like 2, 3, and 4, I think, right? You have that where they go to find Spock, or the Wrath of Khan where Spock dies, they find him, and then they go back to Earth for that 4th movie, which is like I think my favorite of those movies. But that was like and it was completely a new project every single time. There was no need to kind of connect it together. But I guess Star Wars comes in trilogies, right? That's how we are used to consuming Star Wars, so you have to make a trilogy, although it seems that they're moving away from that now. Yeah. I saw a piece the other day that was talking about whether or not Star Wars will even continue in trilogy form, or if we're just going to go ahead with standalone movies and series and that kind of stuff, right? Are we even going to have a trilogy again?
I guess Rian Johnson is still working on his.
That is technically still a thing.
Joey. All right, don't lose your temper. I'll come right back and give you a hand.
The Rangers of the New Republic is no more. That is I don't know if it's officially been canceled, but it is on hold, right? What is the actual
hold.
No longer in active development. So this is the spin-off of The Mandalorian.
Right.
And I think we pretty much know why, because Gina Carano is no longer part of Star Wars. And I think she was going to be the star of that show. Right?
I think so. That must be depressing for her.
She could that's a nice ticket to get, a nice job, some regular work, but she's doing her show with what's his face, right? She's doing a show on some weird right-wing website, so she's fine. And her Funko Pop is still worth $75. But yeah, I mean, it's a shame because I was really hoping for Kim's Convenience to be a part of this, and I've been watching a lot of Kim's Convenience lately. It's on all the time on reruns, and it's a great show, and that guy is a great actor, and I really was hoping to see more of him. Maybe we'll see more of him in The Mandalorian season 3, maybe in the Book of Boba Fett. There's a lot of places where he could show up in this world, but I was really hoping he was going to be a regular on the Rangers of the New Republic.
How about Bill Burr? I thought I thought he could carry that show.
He for sure could carry that show.
So you got them. You got Filoni as the X-wing pilot who doesn't say very much.
You got Grief Karga,
right?
Although I mean, they got to save some. They got to save some of these characters for the Mandalorian. They got to save like Grief. Maybe he'll show up on that show. I guess it's not happening anymore, but maybe he could have shown up, and then every once in a while. But yeah, that's it. There's no more. So I mean, it's not like they don't have a lot of other projects on the go, and that's It's just interesting that they've all of a sudden kind of shelved that one, and it's months after she was fired, right? That was like what, in the springtime when that happened. So it's just a weird kind of delayed decision, but it's certainly, I don't think there's a lot of mystery here as to why it's happening.
And quite possibly of all the shows they named, that was the one that was maybe the least exciting to me anyway.
Oh yeah, I guess so. I mean, again, it's a very vague. You don't know what it is. Of all of them, it's that we didn't know what it was going to be. So I guess that makes it expendable.
And it almost sounds like the Expendables.
While we're on the topic, I saw some cool new toys at Walmart this week. It's a series, The Mandalorian, and I didn't take any photos, and I didn't buy any because they seemed very expensive. These were on a Mandalorian figures. They were the 3.5-inch figures, not the Black Series. But it was Grief Karga. It was what's the guy? What was Nick Nolte's character again? Creef or whatever his name is. It's got IG-11. It's got all the first season characters almost, except for Mando, and what's her face is not in that as well. I assume they didn't release one for her, but it's all the other season 1 characters, and they're really, really cool. And the packaging is like, it's hilarious because they make the packaging look weathered. It's like it's brand new. It's a brand new piece of cardboard. It looks like an old like one of your old like toys. That's what it's meant to look like, I guess. But it's $30. $30 for a 3.5-inch figure is too much for me. I don't know why they're that much. It seems really expensive.
For one or for
Yeah,
the whole
yeah.
package?
No, for one. For one, these are individual packs. And they look like your regular figures. They're not Black Series. As I said, Black Series are 6-inch. These are 3.5. And usually aren't Black Series usually $30? Aren't those for those, right?
Yes, the Star Wars Black in Canada are, and even more than that sometimes, $30 to $40.
Yeah, depending on how big the figure is, right? And or how much plastic they had to use. They can justify more for Jabba the Hutt than they can for Bib Fortuna. But anyway, I thought they were very cool. I should have taken a photo and posted, and I didn't think of it at the time. But yeah, those are that's a new series that I think is out right now.
Oh, I'll look for it. I almost never go to a store anymore.
Well, right now you can't, but yeah, if you ever get out there, check it out.
Well, Manitoba's on lockdown where we live, and the New York Times had an article yesterday saying we're the worst in North America for COVID.
You bet.
So if people are wondering what the hell we're talking about, that's what we're talking about. Basically, we're in lockdown when everybody else is packing arenas. I don't know what's going on.
And the joke is, what was the joke I heard about it? Oh, about like, can we go back to being the Slurpee capital instead of being the COVID capital of the world? Because we usually are the Slurpee capital of the world. But anyway.
A good hockey team. Got a good hockey team.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Well.
There we go.
Yeah. It's not just COVID.
It's okay, Moochie. We're here to take you home.
Oninaga Moochie! 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 The Rancor is Moochie?
All right, and we had, of course, our latest episode of the Bad Batch this week. And I got to say, I am enjoying the show. I think it's pretty good so far.
Yeah, I agree. I do think in the past couple weeks, the episodes have been really short, and they're reminding me of the Clone Wars, and they're breezy. They're fun. I'd say the last couple have had a little less kind of grit to them than what we saw earlier in the series, but they're fine. They're good.
Yeah, and we're starting to see the series move into a bit of a formula, and it is very similar to the Mandalorian formula. We go to a different planet, we meet a different person, that person gets us to do something for them, and then we get what we want and we leave. And it's the littlest hobo all over again. So, and that's what happened this week. But I actually thought there were quite a few great details in this week's episode, in particular, that I quite enjoyed. The first of which being bench pressing a gonk droid, which I love. That the big guy, the big clone, is like he's just doing squats with the gonk droid, which I love. And that gonk droid, I think, is starting to have a bit of more of a personality. We saw a little bit from him today as well, which I think that's going to be I think they should bring that. I want to know more about gonk droids. I don't really know a lot about them other than they sit there and go gonk gonk. Like, are they? I think they're power droids, aren't they supposed to be? Are they just a big battery?
I think they are. I think that's what they do, and they walk around.
Right, but it's like, so you can just ask for the battery to come to you. You don't have to carry a battery. You can just get it to walk to you. So anyway, I quite enjoyed the gonk bench press part. I don't know what else. What has stood out for you?
That's the other thing that's been happening on the show is cameos.
Yeah,
so we had Fennec Shand last week, and which is fine. I thought maybe that episode was a little less interesting than some of the other ones. And this week we had Bib Fortuna. Who else was in there?
Well, not Jabba, because Jabba implied involvement with Jabba, but I guess Moochie was in there. There's a cameo, because I assume. So the story goes. So let's recap quickly, then we'll get into it. So the Bad Batch shows up on this planet, and is it Ord Mantell or Ord Mantell?
I believe it is. That is the planet where Han Solo says the bounty hunter and Ord Mantell changed my mind or something.
Yes, in Empire Strikes Back.
So yes, that's the same place. That's the place.
Excellent.
Where they landed.
Here we go. So
every place that Han
very
Solo's
familiar
ever
spaces
is a plot line.
That's right, but we're getting even more of that now, because we have they go down there, they make a deal with, what was the name of the lizard again? I don't remember the name of the lizard person, but they find a person that their contact, and they want to get this. What were they looking for again? I can't remember. Oh yeah, you're looking for information on Fennec Shand, right? That's what they're looking for, and I love it.
Right.
We ran into this bounty hunter. Do you know who they are? And it's like, she's wearing a helmet. You can't see her face. Like, what is she supposed to do? How are you supposed to tell who that is? But she does. She finds out somehow that it's Fennec. But anyway, in exchange for the information about Fennec Shand, they have to go off and rescue what they're told is a child and they have to go off. And there's a very similar, and I thought that scene was very similar to the to when Mando rescues the Baby Yoda in the very like first episode of the Mandalorian. That compound, it's kind of like in the there's a bunch of junk all over the place. It looked very, very similar. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if they used that set as a basis for this, like CGI or whatever they did for this episode. And we don't really know who these guys are. They're holding a couple people prisoner, and then they capture the Bad Batch, and then the little girl has to help them, which is always, that's going to happen, right? That's a little bit of, again, very cliche elements to this. The kid is going to be involved. The kid is going to help them out. The kid is going to save the day because we want to be, appealing to the children in this show. But then it turns out the person they have to rescue is a Rancor. Moochie is a Rancor, not a kid, not a whatever that kid was that was there that they thought was who they had to rescue. And not only that, and they go ahead and they rescue Moochie. There's another creature that these fox people keep as I don't even know. Have we ever seen these species before in anything else?
I don't think so.
No, they're new.
Well, yeah, hey, somebody's going to prove us wrong, as we always know, but not to my knowledge.
I don't remember seeing them, but they are slave traders, and they're basically looking to, and it looks like, again, this is kind of a statement about what's happening in the wake of the Empire beginning, is that slaving is okay again. Like slave trade is fine. They even say that like slavery is illegal in the New Republic, and they're like, we're not the New Republic or the Old Republic or whatever they called it. We're not the Republic anymore. So there's that. And then they have to rescue Moochie, who it turns out I think is got to be the same Rancor from Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, sadly, that cute little Moochie is going to be killed by Luke Skywalker
in about 20 years.
Yeah.
So what's the lesson here? Like Moochie was a great little kid and then became vicious. Like
it's a sad lesson.
The missed opportunity here though is to have that Rancor master guy, the guy who has like the towel on his head, right? I mean that sounds awful the way I said that. Is that his name? The one who was crying after the Rancor died, after Moochie died. Now when I go back and watch Jedi, I'm going to call that thing Moochie. So they needed to have him there. He should have been there, right? Him and Bib Fortuna. Like I get having Bib Fortuna there immediately makes the connection with Jabba, and Bib is Jabba's right-hand man, and for sure he's going to pick up baby Moochie, but they should have had the trainer there as well.
Well, they could do a whole line of Star Wars shows where they go, whatever happened to Moochie? Oh, Luke Skywalker killed him. Oh, whatever happened to little baby Yoda? Oh, Kylo Ren killed him. Oh, whatever happened to all the cute little babies like 20 years later got killed.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you this. Were you, first of all, how did you feel when you first saw the Rancor? Never mind that it was like the one that was connected to Return of the Jedi. Were you excited? Did you even recognize it as a Rancor?
Maybe not at first.
I was wondering.
The first few seconds.
Yeah, I was like, what is that supposed to be? And then they said it, so we know. But it didn't look like the animation style doesn't really lend itself well to that design, that creature design, I don't think. Especially because they're trying to make he's trying to make him a little cute as well, and he's scary in the original version. So there's that. But I just I was excited, but also I kind of like I don't need them to make it Jabba's Rancor, right? It could have just been anybody. It could have. We don't need it to all tie together like this, and I don't know that makes it a better story.
Well, the episode was called Rampage, and so I was like, "Oh, get ready! There's going to be a
Dwayne the Rock Johnson and a gorilla."
Wasn't too much of a rampage. Wasn't too much. It was pretty light rampage.
No, and I don't understand how they like tamed it by like punching it. So the big guy, there's a dominant. You have to be the dominant. So he goes, okay, and he goes and they start punching each other, and then they just kind of like collapse in a heap together, and they're best friends afterwards. That's just kind of funny.
Yeah. The whole capturing the Rancor, I thought that could have been, if it were a live action movie, that could be like a whole action sequence. It would be hard.
Imagine if they'd done that. I mean, it's similar to the scene in The Mandalorian with the Krayt Dragon, right? That would be another great scene for sure.
Oh yeah. So but part of me was like, okay, I get it. It's a cartoon. It's for kids and it's cute and et cetera. But I think part of me also wants to see that as a live action thing. The horror of trying to capture a Rancor would be
but now I want to know about that Rancor's. I want to know about Moochie's life. Like I want to know what happened to turn him into the horrible monster that we see in the Return of the Jedi.
If that is the same Rancor.
It's
Because
got to be.
for all we know, Jabba has 20 of those things.
Yeah, but
And
why? Why make the choice to have Bib Fortuna in the cartoon if you're not implying that it's the same Rancor and it's young? It's going to grow up. It's got to be. It's got to be the same one.
Well, we didn't get Bib Fortuna going. The master will like it when I put you in the grate beneath where he sits. Which is my favorite when Star Wars characters announce, like, get it? Hey, everybody, get what we're doing here?
This is the person. This is it. Yeah. In a previous episode, you talked about the animation style and the it really is a cartoon. I mean it doesn't look, it's got its own unique style. It's not like Rebels or any of those other shows. It's not like Clone Wars. It's different from Clone Wars. But it looks really good, and I'm really enjoying it. And I like a lot of the creature designs. Most of the creature designs, the Rancor, it's okay. But it's a lot of fun, this show.
No, it is. And I said I wouldn't watch any episodes, and I've watched all of them. So it's a better show than I thought it would be. I still get irritated that the main guy looks like Rambo. It's still and more like Rambo than ever before, I would suggest.
And I just, again, you think about the choices behind the design of these guys, right? And it's not just Rambo. It's all kinds of different, like Ninja Turtles, as we've talked about before. All these other properties where you have these different personality types, and they're all very much in a silo, and that is their personality, and that's it. And I don't love that he's got this face tattoo. I think that's a big mistake. I think face tattoos in general are a mistake, but like these guys now, and I know that when you get the tattoo, you don't think about it. I just want to know where it goes. Where do they go? Where do the clones go to get their tattoos? Did they do it to each other? Do you think? Wonder how that works.
We've never seen that happen. I don't know.
Oh, I want to know.
I
want to know what a tattoo parlor in the Star Wars universe looks like.
Probably
and
like
I want to know how much it costs.
The tattoo artist has 6 arms, like Dexter Jetster.
It's Dexter Jetster. Yes, exactly. It's Dexter's side business. Right next to the diner, he's got his tattoo parlor, and he can tattoo 3 people at once because of all his arms. But I agree. I'm not a fan. I have to say, I think my favorite character is turning out to be funnily enough, the big dumb guy. And it just seems to be like he's obviously, he's just like a kid, right? So but he's lots of funny lines, and it's good. It's a good show. I keep saying that. I keep repeating myself. I don't know why I'm doing that.
Because we weren't expecting it. That's why right from the beginning, we were like, okay, cartoons are for kids. Some Star Wars fans like them, but we're not as into them as we are in the live action. But really, I mean, it must be good because we stuck with it all this time. We've seen every episode. I'm going to keep watching them now. I don't really know how many episodes there's going to be. I've never bothered looking that up.
I don't want to look, to be honest. I don't want to know, because then we'll just get to the end again. I suspect it's going to be like a 10-ish episode. I don't think they're going to go 24 like they would for a normal season of the Clone Wars. It doesn't seem anymore, right? Nobody makes 24 episodes of anything per year. So I think it'll be 10-ish, but we'll see. And this is what, 5 or 6? Was this one 5? I don't remember.
I think 5. I could be wrong on that. But they're short. They're short now. And the first episode was
an hour and a half.
An hour long. And I thought, wow, this is good. Yeah, I thought it was going to be a long series. But it's not. It's actually now that they're short again, it's very easy to watch in little bite-sized pieces. So yeah, I like it. I like what they're doing with it. I guess Loki is starting soon on Disney Plus, so there'll be that to watch as well.
And have you seen MODOK? Have you watched MODOK?
What's that?
It's a new series. It's based on MODOK. The villain from Marvel villain, the giant floating head with the little arms.
Oh yeah,
I
know that guy.
Yeah, Patton Oswalt plays him. It's an animated series. It's on Disney Plus. It's hilarious. It's hilarious.
Really?
Yeah, it's like a Family Guy kind of a thing. But it's with Patton Oswalt. So there's Patton Oswalt is not in the Star Wars universe, is he? Oh no, that's Marvel. Sorry, that's Marvel. I always mix those up.
Yeah. He will be in the Star Wars universe. At
some point, he's got to be, right? Yes, for sure.
It's got to happen. Anybody now that they're making endless movies and shows, I mean, everybody who's ever loved Star Wars, including you and me, will get their chance to be in a Star Wars film, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I want to play that sharpshooter guy in live action, the sharpshooter Bad Batch guy. I got the glasses.
So I thought you could go for the low. The Echo guy, Echo, I think his name is, the half robot guy. You could just
that guy.
Make yourself a little, or you could do cosplay as Lobot. You really could. I mean,
I could.
I'm not making any bald jokes here. I'm just stating a fact.
No, but you're right. That's who I would, if I had a choice, that's who I would go at.
You know what the best part about the Lobot thing, and I hate to bring Lobot again. I know that it's our favorite character, but when you say in that clip that I put on TikTok, when you say he has great taste in dress slacks, and I timed it so that we get a full shot of his outfit, it's not slacks. It's more of like a jumpsuit with a puffy shirt. He's got a puffy shirt just like in Seinfeld. It's like crazy. He's got these big puffy arms. And I don't think anybody notices that about Lobot. Like his outfit,
shoes, right?
Yeah, his outfit comes right out of the 1970s. I swear. Like he didn't even change coming to the set. They just put the thing on his head and that's it. You're ready to go. So anyway.
Oh my God, I love it.
Yeah.
I never even thought. You're right. It is a jumpsuit. It's not dress slacks and white patent shoes. Like we should actually now thanks to COVID, we've got lots of time to assemble Lobot outfits. I think you and I should go as Lobot for an upcoming Halloween. You could be Lobot with hair. It doesn't matter.
No, I would do the bald. I would do the bald cap. I would do the full.
Would you do it? You'd go all in?
Sure, why not?
That's pretty good. I guess going all in would be shaving your hair, not wearing.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing that. Anyway, anything else we should talk about before we wrap things up today?
No, I think that's it for this week.
That's gonna do it for this episode of the Star Wars Nerds. I'm Dan Vadabonker.
I'm Kenton Larson. Don't let the force hit you in the ass.
This had better work. Where did you dig up that old fossil?